Kia ora hoa, Aaron here. I saw some videos that showed a sort of a deck discussion, and so I thought I'd give it a go so you can see where I'm at with my Politicats Honourable Lion version 16. So let's go through it. Yōjin no Shiro, the standard core set Lion Stronghold with +2 during a conflict vow to get +1 military for all my attacking characters, 12 honour, 7 fate a turn, 10 influence, all this stuff you know, I'm sure. So I started doing Politicats with Lion because I wanted the highest honour. That was the only reason I chose it, and it's done me quite well. So I'm starting at 12 honour, and I like that. I'm sticking with Keeper of Fire at the moment. I tried some Seeker of Void with Phoenix, and I wasn't finding it that useful, so I'm sticking with my Keeper of Fire at the moment. Keeper allows me my 13 influence. I try and keep a balanced sort of set of stats, and I've got some Crane cards. Let's see. I have Before the Throne. It's the best choice for air if I want to get honor. I am not fighting the provinces as hard, and if they come at me on Before the Throne, I get 2 honor off them. It's just useful. I would prefer that than getting fate or getting cards, because I need the honor to win. I need that to get there as quickly as possible, because most other decks are going to break my stronghold faster than I can get the honor. So simple choice. My Earth, I was stuck with Ancestral Lands. I was quite happy to use Public Forum to slow down my opponent, but everything else that I can choose, all my other provinces, I want to put them on my back row, so I can't put Public Forum under my stronghold, and so I'm left with either Ancestral Lands or Entrenched Position, basically. And I need help against political, even though my deck is sort of more heavily courtiers and political than your standard line deck, I think. Military is still easier to buff and put in and defend than political. But I'm looking for a better Earth province to put under my stronghold. Feast or Famine, obviously, is just phenomenally good. It breaks. My opponent gets really frustrated with a swing of tempo. It's just really good. It's hard to pass up. Shameful Display, again, being able to honor things as quickly as possible. So this allows me to honor some of my characters really fast. It's good. I would love to make it more repeatable and defend it more strongly, but even firing once I find is effective. Lastly, Art of War, Water Province. I gotta say, oh no, that's not what I want to look at. I can't adjust it in this view. There are some other options underwater that are potentially useful, but I just find that I'm bidding low, so when this province is broken, draw 3 cards, I get some cards out of things. I do tend to defend these. They are all on break provinces, but I do try and defend them reasonably well, because my opponent, if the game drags out and they don't go for breaking me, my provinces, then that actually gives me more room to get honor, because most other decks aren't very good at gathering honor, or indeed stripping me of honor, except for Scorpion. Scorpion breaks my honor really badly, and so I have to try and break provinces. But I feel like most of the time I don't do too badly, because they don't realize just how much honor I can generate, and so the honor-dishonor balances out better than usual. At the moment, I have 42 cards in each deck, because I've just changed them recently, and so I've got a couple of cards that I'm not sure what to take out at this stage. So let's have a look. That's not showing properly. There we go. Obstinate Recruit, 0 cost. If an opponent gets more honourable, this character goes away, but it's free military stats. They're almost always on for me, and they're fine. They're good. Coma Prodigy has to be there, 1 cost, and you put a fate on it and gain an honor. I have won a lot of games by getting to the Dynasty flop and turning up a couple of Coma Prodigies. It feels kind of anticlimactic, but it's an honor win, I've done it quite a few times, so I've got to have all of those. Cheap military, cheap guy to throw out and do attacks and defend militarily. Yep, fine. Steadfast Samurai, even better, is almost always turned on for me. I like to honor these so that my voice of honor has honored characters in play at all times, but then I need to find ways to get rid of the Steadfast Samurai in order to hit to get the honor back off them, which is a little bit frustrating sometimes. But they're really good for just always being a cheap character that I know will be able to defend because they're always on my board. Go to Shiro. The idea here is I'm not worried about breaking provinces, so +5 military allowing me to get a ring effect is fantastic, so I'm happy with that. Also, if I go firing, win the firing and honor him, and then he disappears immediately because I don't have a commander, that actually is great. It gives me an honor ping straight away, and that can be the difference. Gifted Tactician. I took all the pride out of this deck because if I lose a defense because I don't quite have enough to pull in to defend strongly enough, then I'm starting to get dishonored, and I don't want to be dishonored. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. So there's no pride in this deck. So the Gifted Tactician is just a cheap military character. Gives me some more card draw. That's helpful. There's plenty of room in the 2 costs and even in the 1 costs for me to get some different, more specifically honourable related choices as they come out. Mere Mystic. You've got to have some form of attachment control, so between Lion and Crane I have none, so I've got Mere Mystics, basically to take Cloud of the Mind off my Kitsu Spirit Caller. That's kind of the only reason they're there. Tyler Certain Senzo, this is beautiful. I was so happy when this card came out. It doesn't bow if it defends and loses. Actually, it doesn't bow if it attacks and loses as well, but by not bowing, that means I've always got people who can defend. He can just keep coming back into the defense, back into the defense, back into the defense, which stops me losing little pings of honor because I was unable to defend. It's also a Shugenja, which is very nice. That's allowed me to start running Cloud the Mind when I've included all my other. So between that, the Kitsu Spirit Caller, and the Mere Mystic, I feel like 8 Shugenja is not bad, and Cloud the Mind becomes useful. Venerable Historian. This is actually quite useful for getting Imperial Favor as well. If you bring it in and they Cloud the Mind on it or something, and so that you can't get a point of honor, fair enough. But then I've got 3 glory just sitting on the board, and that's not too shabby. So these guys are pretty useful. They're quite good for the Spirit Caller to bring in during a political conflict, get them honored, and then they disappear at the end of the conflict, and hey, there's my honor that might let me win the game. Koma Ikehata is a decent addition to the courtiers. If I win political, and I've got a lot of political stuff here actually, honor a character, so I need the honor. Covert is always useful, drawing more cards is always useful, so he's really useful. He's great. He's mostly been really helpful to me. Kitsu Spirit Caller, we all know that. Bring in characters, just very useful. Brawler, again, really useful. I've got a lot of... These are just... Most of my deck is just generically kind of useful cards for Lion, and I would be happily swapping a lot of these out for things like the Senzo, the Historian, Ikehata, as they get more useful. So the highest cost is Honor General. I don't tend to pay for it if I can avoid it. I tend to Kitsu him in just when I need him. But he's a free honor, which is good, and he smashes military, which is also good. I need some card draw to make sure, because I'm bidding low, I'm getting cards. And at the moment, I've put in the staging ground because I've got a lot of cheap guys, and being able to pump out a lot of them means I see a lot of my dynasty effects, which is good because I don't see a lot of my conflict effects because I bid so low. So being able to get through all my dynasty, get all these different effects out onto the board and used, I feel like is useful. So at the moment I'm at 42, I'm a little bit above. Obstinate Recruit, obviously going down a little. I'd probably bump that guy up to 3 if I got rid of the staging grounds. So I'd still be at 41, but they're useful. I'm just trying to minimize it as best I can. Over on the conflict side, I have the Seal of the Lion. Basically, the only reason this is here is to get the commander trait, because it's useful for Akodo to Shiro a little bit, but more useful for even the odds. If it's a commander, even the odds will honor it, so I can use Seal of the Lion to add honor to my units. It also means that even though you've bowed me out, if I put a Seal of the Lion on someone, I can then even the odds to get them in to be a defender and honour them at the same time. So you don't take the honour for me not defending, and I gain an honour when they leave play. 2 Cloud the Minds, because I've got just enough Shugenja to give it a try, and that gives me a little bit of help against some of the bigger, nastier things in the game. Honoured Blade, I was willing to take this out completely, but yeah, putting it on somebody so that they break my Before the Throne, and then they give me an honour and 2 other honour because they've got the Break the Throne, or they're already smashing me militarily, or they've got a big bad military guy, and I put this on them and suddenly they're worried about putting that person into a conflict. They don't want me to get these little pings of honour. They learn very quickly that, oh, this deck is going for an honour when I don't. They're getting up above 20. I don't want to be giving them little pings of honour. So the Honour Blade has been really useful, mostly for snapping off my opponent, but obviously it's still +2 military for if I need a little bit more, I can use it. Steward of Law helps me defend really, really well. Cheap to throw into the defense, and then if I am, I've got some for shame there that I can use with the Steward of Law, but I also have heaps of courtiers, so for shame can still be useful in my dynasty, even if I don't see my stewards. Guardian Kami has won me the game so many times, because I'll get to 23, 24 honor, I'm doing really, really well, and my opponent will be like, got to do an air ring to stop them, to stop me. And then I put down a Guardian Kami, and if they don't have something that'll move it out or blank it, that's it, I win. It's just that simple. I've had 2 in hand before, and somebody's assassinated the Guardian Kami, and then I've played my second one, and they're just like, well, I can't do anything about it. So Guardian Kami, great. Now I tried Seeker of Void, which was the alternate role for Lion, and with the idea of using Kami Unleashed, but often it would mean I would be playing a Kami Unleashed into a losing battle because I couldn't quite win, but I wanted the ring effect anyway. And it felt like I was throwing a lot of resources into something that wasn't so great. Whereas Guardian Kami, it sort of mitigates a bad situation better than Kami Unleashed, I feel. So I'm preferring Keeper at the moment for that. Contingency plan, because whenever we do an honor bid of any sort, I want to be able to steal honor off you. Even if you bid 1, I can go to 0 and get an honor off you. It's got to be in here. It's got to be done. That does mean that's part of why I started doing a duel, and I'm quite happy when people duel me, because if I know I'm going to lose the duel anyway, cool, I'll get an honor off you in the process. Court games, it honors my characters. It's got to be in there. Even the odds, we've talked about that. For shame, we've mentioned that. So policy debate, this is my restricted card at the moment. Charge isn't that useful for me because most of my deck is really cheap. Muramoto's Fury is probably reasonable, but I just, I had some options. For Greater Glory wouldn't be too bad, except I'm actually okay with a lot of my units leaving play because that's when I get the honor off them if I've honored them. So I'm often not too worried about them leaving play. And that ties into something else that I'm trying out at the moment. So policy debate, I've got some decent politics, and also if it looks like they're going to win, I can contingency plan my way down, or I can contingency plan my way up and get a better score and make sure I win the policy debate. It allows me to clear out their hand to make sure that I'm not as vulnerable to their conflict as the conflict hand as I might be with so few conflict cards of my own. Most players start bidding 1 opposite me, so find themselves running out of their conflict hand, whereas I'm used to it. They become a bit worried about it. So policy debate is pretty good. Ready for battle, always good to be able to ready my characters, but I'm beginning to chip it down. It's only at 2 at the moment because it's not directly related to my game plan. It's falling by the wayside a little bit. Voice of Honor, this is one of the main reasons I splash Crane, is that Steward of Law is really good because I can stop you dishonoring me with it, which is really good. But Voice of Honor also means I can take advantage of all my honored characters and get some cancel. It's really, really helpful to have some cancel. Cheap and easy military pump. Noble Sacrifice is just hopefully a way that I can deal with some of the big nasties in the game, because I have a lot of problems if you play a 5-cost character with like 3 fate on them. they're going to be a huge influence on my game plan. So noble sacrifice, if I can get a noble sacrifice out, that really helps, obviously. I've started doing waning hostilities, and this has been really, really useful to me. For if somebody's got a few big characters with heaps of fate on them, but they can only do one conflict, then they're sort of their use, their reliability has been totally restricted. Whereas my guys, I'm going out of play anyway. I wasn't expecting them to necessarily do a lot anyway. I'll do one good push and that's it. And I feel like I can prepare for it a bit better, and I'm aware that it's going away, and it helps strip fate off other characters, my opponent's characters, faster than they're really hoping for, so they're getting less out of the fate investment that they put on their characters. Alongside that, I've taken one mono no are, because a lot of my characters don't have fate on anyway. I'm expecting them to go, whereas yours, you're expecting to get another turn out of them, and I might be able to strip them away completely. So that's been helpful. This waning hostilities, I've also found, like Hizumori Toride, goes too fast. I can't get honor fast enough to combat that. So waning hostilities counters that sort of an approach as well. Slows the game down just enough that hopefully my honor becomes more useful. It also means I only have to defend once, so I'm less likely to lose honor to not being able to defend. And of course, Way of the Chrysanthemum, 3 of, so that I hard mulligan for it every time. I want it first turn, because first turn is when you're going to bid 5. Even if I've had a few games where I've bid 5 the first turn if I haven't found my Way of the Chrysanthemum, because I'm going digging for it, and my opponents realise that I'm an honor deck and they bid 1, and I've still managed to get up to sort of 22, 23 honor, because eventually they do bid high, because I bid high. I had bid high, so they end up needing to rebalance the conflict. And if I've got a Way of the Chrysanthemum ready to go for it, or if I policy debate somebody and they take a risk, that just helps. If I'm getting at least 2 extra honor, I'm usually willing to spend the fate on it. It's pretty much the same as a Guardian Kami at that point. So that is my deck. That's some of the ideas behind it. We'll see how it changes as new cards come out, but that's where I am. That's what I play. That's some of the thoughts about how I work with what I got. I would love to hear your suggestions of what 2 cards could be taken out of each deck. I would love to hear your suggestions of what sort of cards would be great to change the Matsu Berserker or the Lion's Pride Ball, or what sort of card should come down the line that would replace it and become more useful to me in my deck here. Or if you think I should try a different splash, if you think I should try Crab or Scorpion or Dragon or whatever, going for an honor victory, I'd love to hear those comments. I hope you enjoyed that. It's something a bit different for me, and ka kite anō.